When Prince Harry stormed out of that BBC studio, the headlines told one story, but the look on his face told another. This wasn't just another awkward PR moment. It was the unraveling of a legacy. A single joke from Graham Norton, Britain's most beloved talk show host, landed like a bombshell on live television. The audience laughed, the cameras rolled, but Harry didn't stay. He walked out, face flushed, fists clenched, dignity shattered. And just like that, the soldier prince who once stood tall beside wounded warriors became the punchline of the night. But that moment was only the spark. Behind the scenes, what followed was far worse. A volcanic meltdown, a shattered glass, furious aides, and a palace left in stunned silence. And all of it unfolding just as preparations for the next. Invictus Games, Harry's proudest achievement, began to fall apart. How did the Duke of Sussex go from being a symbol of hope to a walking controversy? And can the games he built survive if the man behind them won't even show up? Before we dive into the full story, make sure to like this video and leave a comment below. If you were Prince Harry, would you have walked out or fired back on live TV? It was supposed to be a victory lap, a celebration marking 10 years of the Invictus Games, Prince Harry's most cherished creation. But instead, the moment was hijacked by laughter. Not the kind Harry hoped for, not the applause of grateful veterans or proud supporters, but the sharp sting of a nationwide joke and the sound of his reputation cracking live on air. The culprit, Graham Norton, a man whose charm could soften the sting of a roast, but this time there was no softening, no saving face, just one biting quip that framed Harry not as a royal, not as a veteran, but as a has-been. The studio audience howled, social media erupted, but inside that green room, Harry's face turned ghostly pale. Witnesses say he didn't even wait for the cameras to stop rolling. He stormed out the side, door head down, jaw clenched, and vanished into the night. It wasn't just embarrassment, it was betrayal, public, painful, and impossible to spin. And that's when things spiraled. Back at his hotel, tempers flared. Staffers described the scene as explosive. One insider claimed a glass shattered against the wall. The room went silent. Prince Harry, once the face of resilience and dignity, was now pacing red-eyed, fuming and shouting about mocking the wounded. He crossed a line, Harry reportedly roared. He mocked them, not me them. But the damage was done, and the walls that had once protected the prince were now crumbling around him. And this meltdown, that was just the beginning. Years ago, when Prince Harry first launched the Invictus Games, he wasn't just another royal doing charity work. He was a man on a mission, a veteran himself, using his pain to spotlight others. And for a while, it worked. Veterans rallied. The world took notice. Harry wasn't the spare anymore. He was the soldier prince leading a global movement of healing, but now, that image is slipping away. In the wake of his outburst, critics weren't kind. The only one sabotaging Invictus is Harry himself, one commentator wrote. Another called the games just another stage for his PR show. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Just days earlier, reports leaked that Harry hadn't confirmed his attendance at the 2027 Invictus Games. A stunning silence from the man who founded it. While Palisades tried to stay diplomatic, the message from insiders was blunt. He's walking away again. And that wasn't all. While veterans gathered to celebrate the 10-year anniversary, Harry skipped key appearances. Even his offer to invite the royal family to the 2027 Games felt hollow, like a PR bandage over a deeper wound. But the real fallout wasn't public. It was royal, and it was ruthless. Behind palace gates, silence echoed louder than any press release. King Charles, battling his own health crisis, made no effort to see his youngest son during Harry's brief visit. And when asked about the Invictus situation, Buckingham Palace refused to comment. But according to royal insiders, the king's disappointment ran deep. He sees this as a personal betrayal, one source said. Not just of him, but of everything the monarchy stands for. For Charles, Invictus wasn't just Harry's side project. It was a symbol, a rare unifying cause that brought the royals and the public together. And now, the man who once stood at its center was being accused of turning his back on it. No more protection, whispered another courtier. If he walks away from this, he walks alone. And with that, the message was clear. The royal family would no longer cover for Harry. No spin, no sympathy, no more soft landings. But the most devastating criticism, it didn't come from the crown. It came from the community Harry once fought for. To the veterans of Invictus, Harry wasn't just a prince. He was one of them. A brother, someone who'd shared their pain, stood on their stages, cried beside their families. But now, that brotherhood is breaking. Inside the Games Foundation, tension is building. Sponsors are asking hard questions. Major donors want clarity. Private calls are being made, demanding reassurance. Is Harry still committed, they ask? So far, there's no answer. And it's not just financiers who are nervous, it's the veterans themselves. Men and women who once shared their stories, their trauma, their triumphs because Harry made them feel seen. One former competitor put it bluntly. He told us he'd never leave, but it feels like he already has. There's a growing sense that Harry's Hollywood life Netflix deals, California mansions, podcast drama has swallowed the soldier he used to be. The one who once stood for something bigger than himself. And the silence, that's what hurts the most. Because silence says everything. While Harry faced headlines, backlash, and boardroom chaos. Across the Atlantic, another royal was making moves. Quietly, intentionally, without drama. Prince William, the once reserved heir, often overshadowed by his younger brother's rebellious spark, has become the face of a modern monarchy. One engagement at a time, one speech at a time, one carefully chosen appearance at a time. There were no viral breakdowns, no public outbursts, no PR disasters to mop up. Instead, William was out in the open visiting schools, comforting veterans. Speaking about homelessness and mental health, he wasn't just showing up, he was showing leadership. And with Catherine by his side, their image has begun to feel more like a return to royal stability than anything coming out of Palisades. Call it a recalibration. Royal watchers call it a quiet revolution, and the public, they've noticed. Polls show rising approval ratings for William and Kate, particularly among younger generations, once captivated by Harry. Now, those same demographics are turning elsewhere for their hope, their sense of continuity, their trust, because while Harry's headlines feel unpredictable, William's presence feels inevitable. And to the firm, the contrast couldn't be more strategic. One brother falling, the other rising. A new legacy being written in real time. But no royal drama is complete without the most enigmatic figure in the Sussex saga, Meghan Markle, once ever present at Harry's side, smiling at Invictus events, holding hands during speeches, speaking passionately about service. She's now completely absent. No public statement, no appearance, no reaction to the Graham Norton fallout, and that silence. It's not being seen as loyalty, it's being seen as strategy. Insiders say Meghan never supported Harry's return to the UK, not because of security fears, but because of optics. In her view, stepping back into that world would be reopening wounds they had publicly tried to leave behind. The British media, the cold royal receptions, the constant scrutiny. Meghan, some say, was trying to protect their American rebrand. A carefully crafted image built on philanthropy, selective exposure, and a narrative of survival not scandal, and showing up now would have risked the whole thing. So instead, she stayed away, but her absence raised bigger questions, veterans whispered. Former supporters wondered, where is she? Why isn't she defending him? Is she stepping back or stepping away? 4. A couple that once promised the world they were stronger together. This new distance is loud, telling, inevitable. Perhaps because while Harry absorbs the blows, Meghan is nowhere to be seen. The Sussexes were supposed to rewrite what royalty looked like in the modern age. Human, vulnerable, bold. Netflix paid handsomely to be part of that story, but today, that story is on shaky ground. When the streaming giant signed their deal, the Invictus Games documentary was pitched as the emotional centerpiece, a legacy-defining moment for Harry, a celebration of resilience and redemption. But now, with Harry's commitment to the games under fire, and his public image circling the drain, the entire project hangs in the balance. Executives are reportedly nervous, one source said bluntly. We can't sell a comeback story if the star refuses to come back, and it's not just about views, it's about credibility. Because in the eyes of the world, Harry built Invictus. It's not just another charity, it's his soul on display. His identity beyond the crown. If he walks away from it, if the 2027 games go forward without him, what's left? For Netflix, for donors, for veterans, for the public, it raises a painful question. Was it ever about the cause, or just the cameras? And the answer might just redefine everything Harry and Meghan have built. Inside the boardrooms of the Invictus Games Foundation, the mood is tense. Crisis meetings, legal reviews, backup plans. What if Harry doesn't return? Branding teams have begun, drafting alternate campaigns, ones that downplay Harry's role. Others explore potential celebrity ambassadors to replace him in public messaging. All of them whisper the same thing behind closed doors. We need a plan B. And that's not just heartbreaking. It's historic because Prince Harry didn't just support Invictus. He was Invictus. He stood on stages beside amputees, held hands with trauma survivors, gave speeches that brought hardened soldiers to tears. He told the world this was his purpose. And now, he's ghosting it. One high-ranking sponsor said it best: "We invested in Harry, not just the games. Without him, it loses its heartbeat." And the ripple effects are already beginning. Veterans are disillusioned. Staffers are disheartened. Donors are disengaging. For many, it's no longer just about a PR crisis, it's about a betrayal. Because when you promise to lead, when you ask people to believe in you, to stand with you, you don't get to vanish. Not when it matters most. But that's exactly what Prince Harry is doing. And the world is watching. Now, as the dust settles, Prince Harry stands at a crossroads. Not just personally, but historically. One path leads back to duty, to leadership, to the very people who once saw him as a beacon. The other, to silence, to distance, to a slow, quiet fade into irrelevance. The 2027 Invictus Games are already being planned. Venues are booked, dates are circulating, but Harry's name is missing from the promotional material. His voice is absent from the press briefings. His image is fading from the vision, and if he doesn't return soon, the foundation may be forced to move forward. Without its founder, the headlines won't call it a scheduling conflict. They'll call it what it is: a walkout, a retreat, a surrender of the very legacy he once said gave him purpose. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about the press, or the palace, or even the joke. It's about trust. When Graham Norton cracked that one-liner on live TV, the country laughed. The audience clapped, but what they didn't realize is that they were witnessing the beginning of an ending. The moment the public stopped seeing Harry as a hero and started seeing him as a headline. For years, the prince fought for a new image, a new life, a new role, but in chasing freedom, he may have lost the one thing that made him matter: connection with veterans, with the British public. With the crown, and unless something changes fast, unless he shows up, steps in and reclaims the mission he once called his soul's work, he may find that Invictus, the movement he built, no longer has a place for him. The games will go on, but the seat he once held, it might just remain empty, because legacies aren't just built, they're protected. And right now, Prince Harry's is on the edge.